Welcome everyone on a Friday night to the Felix Comic Art Podcast Live, Episode 6, which is our Tokyo Trip 2023 recap, travelogue, report, whatever you want to call it. I'm here with Yams, who came with us on the trip, and we're going to just show you the things we did, give you some ideas on what to do if you decide to make your own trip, and just share some of the fun that we had. And I'm still recovering. And we got what? Yeah, what was it? 2 days ago we came back.
2 days ago. Feels like
I'm
feels
still
like
trying
it
to
was an
recover.
hour.
Yeah, and I'm leaving on another trip. I'll be gone another week and a half. So actually, let me start off by saying everyone who has ordered art in the last couple of weeks, thank you for your patience. I have been out of town. I did mention November I'd be mostly on the road, but I do come back December 1st, and shipping will resume full time then. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Let's see who we have in here. We got Nick Patera, Dan Tancredi, Doug Fluger, Victor Bracamontes, Mike Sitchi, Comic Art Channel, Jason Kim, who is running the show behind the scenes. This doesn't happen without Jason. Thank you, Jason. Ryan Brockner, Marcus Way, Paul McInnes, Reba, I am Brunson. I'm guessing you're a Fisto North Star fan, and good news for Fisto North Star fans. And even if you're not a fan of Fisto North Star, if you're a comic art fan, we have an art show for you. It's pretty crazy. Then that was the highlight of my trip. We will talk about it. Mike D, Diamond Chris Productions, Adil Alamon, John McClanahan, and more, I'm sure. Michael Patrick Sullivan. Thanks everyone for joining. Please hit that like button. So, this is a trip that we took many years ago now, in 2015. It was our first big group trip, and it was not for a show. It was not for any other reason other than just to hang out and have fun. And it was an absolute blast. Just within our group, something we talked about, almost like a legendary thing.
Right.
Yams was on that trip. Yams shot a video. You can find it, not on YouTube anymore because of he was a little picky with the music. But if you Google Felix Comic Art Tokyo, you'll find it on Vimeo. And that is actually the best primer for first-time visitors to Tokyo. A lot of the basic stuff and it's step by step. Our trip this time, we took some first timers, but also there were people who'd been on it before. So we had different agendas, and this trip isn't although what I'm going to show you is pretty basic. It wasn't as ideal for first timer. You still kind of have to get your feet under you. But in any case, we had a big group this time. We had 9 artists and some collectors, and ended up being 15 people. Let's see, I got to look up who all came along. It was a lot of people.
It was that many.
It was Daniel Warren Johnson, James Herron, Nick Dragata, Trad Moore, Stephen Green, Andrew McLean, Nick and Tanya Darrington, Jeffrey Allen Love, Marcio Takara, and then it was me, Yams, Lambert, our pal John Butler. So you had a mix of collectors too. It was a lot of fun. It's been a long time coming, and it was supposed to happen a while back, but it happened now. So why don't we start with the slideshow? And if you guys have any questions, just shoot them in the comments. We'll just go along with the slideshow. Get us started, Jason. All right, this was our first night in San Francisco. We had a group of guys fly into San Francisco the night before we were going to leave for Tokyo, just to be safe. I didn't want to go take a red eye and hope to get in time to catch the morning flight to Japan. And so to play it safe, these guys all flew in the day before. Here we are at a taqueria in the Mission District in San Francisco. really good food, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. We got the trip started off with some good food. Um, okay,
Great tacos.
yep. Next slide, and here we are. Wednesday morning was Wednesday morning. Yeah, Wednesday
Yep.
morning
Yep.
at the airport, about to board our flight. Next slide. Okay, so we're jumping right into Tokyo. So the way because of the time difference, we leave Wednesday morning, but when we arrive, it's already late Thursday afternoon in Tokyo. So we land at the airport, we go into the city, and we have a couple hours at night to do something. So the first thing we do is we go into Shibuya, which is a really trendy district in Japan, and it has the world's biggest crossing. It's like it's just cross all different ways. You've seen it, and it's got all the electronic billboards and big screens everywhere, and it is instant introduction into the craziness that is Tokyo. So I remember when we all went, and it was the first time for everyone but me. Um, Everyone was just blown away and overwhelmed. You can see
Yes.
that on the video. And
It's,
this time,
you're in
this time,
awe.
yeah, exactly. So this time, half of us had been, and for the other people who hadn't, you got the same reaction. All right, next slide. Okay, so look, these slides are we're going to jump around a little bit. We kind of threw this slideshow together, not in like perfect order, so forgive me. The next morning, we went to Tsukiji Fish Market, which is a tourist hotspot, and it's all little stalls serving. It used to be just primarily seafood, but now they also do wagyu beef and lots of other stuff, which you'll see in a second. This is this is, I think, the best stall, and it's near the front of the market. And most people, first timers, will walk by it because there's usually a line, and they'll want to go and see what's inside. But this one is waiting for, and what you're looking at are tuna steak skewers that are getting torched, and you dress them up with a little pepper, little lemon juice. It's fantastic. It's my favorite thing in the entire fish market. Okay, next slide. And here we have the Wagyu grill. Yeah, absolutely amazing. I mean, you can just pig out on food stalls. A lot of fun. And so we did this the next morning. All went to Tsukiji. All right, let's see. Okay, so this is a quick video of the giant shrimp cracker. If you saw this on my Instagram, this is what happens. They pour this batter on this griddle press, and they place a prawn in the middle of it. They clamp it down, and you get this giant cracker with a shrimp that looks like it's been fossilized. Next slide. And here I am holding it. You can see what the shrimp looks like, all smushed. Marcus adds Wagyu A5. Indeed, Wagyu A5. I went with my daughter a couple of months ago. I wanted to try this. The line was too long, and this time I said I'm going to try it this time, and I liked it. I'd have it again. Next slide. Okay, so as we were walking around, we take public transportation, the subway mostly. You started to see the advertisements for the Fist of the North Star 40th anniversary exhibition. This was the first one I saw. I was on the subway station. I was already getting excited, but it would still be a couple days away. But
Right.
I was already,
Great primer.
yep, it was already starting to already starting to think about it. Next slide. Okay, so after Tsukiji, we went into an area called Koenji, and to visit Japan Book Hunter. So Japan Book Hunter, if you go to Instagram, you type in Japan Book Hunter, you can find him. He's basically a book dealer. He scours all the bookshops, the used bookshops in Tokyo and beyond, to get all the cool books that we're looking for. Now, I actually, when I used to go to Japan, I went to Tokyo about 60 times. in the late 90s and early 2000s. And I stayed in the used book district, so I know where a lot of these shops are. But the thing is, a lot of them get picked clean, not just by Japan Book Hunter, but there are other guys who do what he does. And I don't mind getting the books from Japan Book Hunter because first of all, I think his markup is fair. Second of all, even if you know where the shops are, there's no guarantee you're going to find the books. But anyway, the guy's really cool. He has an office/showroom in Koenji, and if you've ever been to Stuart Ing Books, it's like a little miniature version of that, but just Japanese books. So if you've seen Stuart Ing at a convention, it's kind of like that. But whereas Stuart specializes in European books, Japan Book Hunter obviously deals in Japanese books. So next slide. And here we all are in the main room. You can see the bookshelves are stocked, and I'm going to show you some of the things I got from him in a sec. But I think we can go one more slide. Okay, so I'll explain this picture. I'm holding an original Lone Wolf and Cub from early 70s, where the magazine was serialized in. And this is being Japan Book Hunter got this for Jeff Darrow, who's going to be visiting with the Kayfabe guys in a couple of weeks. And so I had them take a picture of me. I texted to Jeff. I said, "Hey, look what I found," and he was very jealous. And I told him, "Hey, don't worry, this one's being held for you." And then he was happy. So anyway, that's that pick. Next pick. Okay. Actually, let me show you some of the books that I got from Japan Book Hunter real quick. Pretty happy with what I picked up. So when I was in, actually, hang on just a second. One more. Hang on just a second.
Shout out to Sean, Japan Book Hunter. He treated us very well. He had not everything you could possibly imagine, but almost. Everybody left happy for sure.
Jason, can you switch the camera to me? I was really happy to find these. When we were in Koenji, just walking around, you just never know what you're going to find. Obviously, I'm a big aliens guy, and just found these Japanese Starlog magazines in a random shop. So totally cool pickup. Then when we went to the actual Japan Book Hunter, we all went a little crazy. And these are some of my favorite things. I got the Akira Fumetti set, which is basically, if you remember Fumetti, they're just stills from the movie, but arranged as comics. And this is the entire set. I've seen these floating around, but I've never been able to get the entire set. So it's like one-stop shopping. I was able to get the whole set from him. Pretty happy about that. Really stoked to get this volume of the Japanese Spider-Man, drawn by Ryoichi Ikegami, probably one of my favorite manga artists. He did A Crying Freeman, Sanctuary, very distinctive style. This is pretty early, and he's still a little raw here, but this is an official licensed Japanese version of Spider-Man, and kind of very Japanese fashion. It starts off with Peter Parker, or the Japanese Peter Parker, daydreaming about his classmates, and first thing he does is, he's wanking it, and only in a manga. This book I was super happy to get. This is kind of a tough find. This is an art book for Noriyoshi Orai, illustrator in Japan, really famous for doing their one-sheets, their Japanese one-sheets. And this is probably my favorite thing he did. It was the poster for Road Warrior, Mad Max 2. And it's they have it as the cover of the book. Nice thick copy. I haven't seen this one. I've gotten other art books from him, but this is pretty comprehensive, full of colored pictures. Really happy with that. And this is probably my biggest score. It is Young Magazine, which was a manga collection. And this is where Akira first appeared. It was serialized in this. And these magazines are tough to find because they're totally disposable. These are the sort of thing you buy, you read on the subway, you toss. So pretty hard to find. He had it, and I had to get it. So here you go. This is probably the biggest score of my entire trip, just because like a lot of these other things you can find, and I've seen them before. I've never gotten an actual original Young magazine before. So here you go. Okay, next slide. Rebas, hey, the hall, how heavy was your bag coming back? So, good question. I'm an experienced Tokyo shopper, so I know how to pack the luggage. And I always tell guys, okay, so don't just bring the carry-on with your clothes in it. You're going to need extra luggage to bring your stuff back because you're going to be picking up stuff. And some guys listen, some guys don't. And the ones who don't spend the last day of the trip running around looking for luggage to bring their stuff back. And it happened both times. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but maybe they'll, but I think they'll listen to me next time. Okay, next slide. All right, this picture was taken at Mandarake in Nakano Broadway in Nakano, which is sort of the otaku, nerd mecca. And this is a must see, whether it's your first time or your 10th time in Tokyo. It's an entire mall devoted to, nerd stuff. Although I suspect that going back to Japan Book Hunter, he just opened that office. It's brand new. And I suspect that's going to end up being a destination. But there is zero question, Nakano Broadway. I mean, you can write that down. Nakano Broadway is the one place you got to go. Is dominated by a chain called Mandarake, which does every kind of collectible category you can think of. Each storefront has a different specialty. And yeah, their biggest footprint is in Nakano. Within Tokyo, there are several branches, most notably Nakano, but also in Shibuya and in Akihabara. That first night when we were at the crossing, there's a Mandarake in that area. We also hit that one, but this was the big one. This was day 2. This was Nakano. In this case, is all Microman, which was one of my favorite toy lines, and I actually got a couple pieces from here. Pretty stoked about. Because this piece right here is still sealed. If this is almost 50 years old. Amazing. And here's a really cool roadster that also turns into a crossbow. So this line sort of was absolutely the predecessor to Transformers. A lot of the toys were brought over, licensed by Mego in the States as Micronauts. That's that scale, 3 3/4 inch, obviously influenced toys starting with Star Wars and later G.I. Joe. Microman itself was derived from Henshin Cyborg, which was, copied from American G.I. Joe. So there's sort of this circular, cultural exchange in toys. But yeah, very happy with that one. Also got also at a different Mandarake, I got these. Now these aren't particularly hard to find, but I pick these guys up whenever I can. This was like just a marvel in toy engineering. The original Macross Valkyrie, the original Transformer Jetfire toy based on this guy. So yeah, pretty happy with that. All right, next slide, Jason. This is the entrance to so like I said, the slides are a little out of order, but anyway, this is the entrance into Nakano Broadway. Unmistakable. And a lot of foreigners in there. I first started going in mid to late 90s, and there were a few foreigners, but these days it's like half foreigners. Next slide. And this is so you walk down this long corridor to get to the actual mall, and on either side are small shops, restaurants, etc.
It's
Next
pretty
slide.
overwhelming too, that entrance.
Yeah.
Not quite Shibuya Square, but you're still like, it's just a delight everywhere you look.
And here we go. More Fist of the North Star. Getting us ready for something that I don't think any of us were totally prepared for. I mean, I thought, we had a general idea. Okay, so it's a celebration of the 40th anniversary. It's a pop-up. How big could it be? We had no idea, but we were getting excited. And this was a banner in the subway. This was at a Mandarake. This is another Mandarake storefront. I think this one specialized in vinyl toys. Next slide. Okay, and then this is Sakaido, which is like 6-story art store. And what you got to understand about Japan, and especially Tokyo, stores tend to be very small. Real estate's expensive, so you don't get generally these humongous emporiums, and that's why this one really stands out. We went to this spot our first time, and it's where guys, the sort of birthplace of screen tones being used in American comics was with our group, and pretty much at Sakaido, although they had been using it before, you had the full range of selection at Sakaido. I've posted pictures of it. It's just like 2 rows of nothing but screen tones. Every variety, every variant you can think of. And there you go. There's someone kind of recognizable. So of course, we had to go to Sakaido. Less screen tones this time, but a lot of other stuff, and I think you're going to start seeing it pop up on the art. And conveniently enough, next to Sakaido was the official Godzilla store, and it just so happened the latest Godzilla movie, Godzilla -1, just opened, and walking in the store, seeing all this stuff kind of got us excited to see the Godzilla movie on the big screen, which we would end up doing. Okay, so here we are later that day, and we are at Gundam Factory Yokohama, where there is a life-size Gundam. There's actually a life-size Gundam in Tokyo proper. Yokohama is an hour train ride outside of Tokyo. But that one doesn't move. It's a static statue. This one moves. And it's an entire show. We were all pretty tired. I think some of us were still a little jet lagged and a little skeptical about making the trip. Like, we'll just settle for the statue, to take a pic. But it was actually Tanya, Nick Darrington's wife, who said, let's, in for a penny, in for a pound, let's just go to Yokohama. And you can see it's not a full group. Some guys just pooped out, but the rest of us said, yeah, screw it, let's do it. And I got to say, it was
a great decision.
Yeah, it was absolutely worth it. This just gives you an idea of scale. That is 6 stories tall. You got Stephen Green and Trad Moore a good distance from it. You can see in the background like just how huge it is. If you look up toward the Gundam and to the right of it, there are a couple of platforms. Those are people standing on those platforms. You could pay for a more expensive ticket to stand up close to it. But something, if you're that close, you don't really get to see the whole thing. But I think it kind of gives you the sense that the fantasy that you're a pilot walking up to it, like being that close to it. We didn't really feel the need to do that. We wanted to actually see the thing in its entirety. But I think for a lot of people, this was like the highlight of the trip, because there's just no way to convey the surrealness of being next to this giant robot. This next video is not going to do it any justice, but it'll give you an idea. There's a lot of different shows. Is there volume? I mean, can you turn up the volume on that, Jason?
It was so cool.
Yeah. There may not be maybe there's no volume. But there's music, there's narration. Okay, so I'm just this thing goes on for 11 minutes. It's a long video. So I'm just gonna answer your questions while this is you can enjoy that. Um, let's see.
Marcus Way wants to know how often they reset the.
I think it's twice. The show runs twice an hour, and there's a lot of different variations. So you don't see the same show twice. Like we came toward the second half of one show, and we stayed to watch the show in its entirety, and we could tell already it's different.
The fog, yeah, the smoke machines were great.
Yeah, and that's actually why we went at night for the light effects, the smoke effects. It's not quite as dramatic during the day. You can see it's taking steps now.
Yeah, really set the tone. The lighting was so good; it was perfect.
Mike suggests any sketching going on. Of course, everyone wants to know. Actually, very little sketching. Some guys didn't even bring any tools. Some guys like James is constantly sketching. He people watches and just has a little sketchbook. He'll sit on the subway. He'll sit in a coffee shop and just sketch whatever comes across his way. Yeah, you can see this thing walking. It's nuts.
And if you speak Japanese, then you can follow the whole story. But there's announcers the entire time running you through. Oh, get ready, Gundam.
Mike D says, "I'm surprised everyone wasn't drawing constantly." Like I said, it was intermittent. The guys did take some time to sit down and draw, but it was definitely not constant. I mean, they were there to take a break from all that. They recognize you rock stars. No, we were pretty incognito, which was cool. I can't remember. I'm trying to think. I feel like there was an instance or two, but nothing crazy. Ron Lim said, "Bummed I didn't consult Felix before I went to Tokyo years ago. Missed so many toy stores." Ron, there aren't that many toy stores left. Golden age of toy stores was when I was going regularly, the 90s and up until the early 2000s, and it just hadn't been the same since. I knew the subway system pretty well in every stop because there'd always be a toy store that I'd want to visit. But these days, there are very, very few. There are places selling new toys, but vintage toy shops just don't really exist anymore because of internet, because of online auctions. Yeah, now it's taking a knee. Yeah, it boggles the mind, that Bandai has the money to develop and build something like this, but they sell a lot of model kits. And the crazier thing is, to me, this would be a permanent fixture, like Disneyland or something, but it's not. It's temporary. They're taking it down. Yeah, I think that land is actually more expensive than what this thing costs to keep. Samuel says they need to build a Zaku next to it. Samuel, I think they are going to do a Zaku, a statue at the other location I was telling you about in Tokyo. It used to be a RX-78. Now it's a unicorn variant. and someone says it'll be a Zaku, or there had been a Zaku. I'm not sure. Will the robot walk to its next menu? No, it will not. It's getting retired.
That's what the creator said. When you walk up, there's a big plaque, and the first thing he says is, "I'm very sorry. I'd like to apologize that the robot actually doesn't walk around for you, but we did our best."
Retired like Blade Runner. Yeah, yeah. That's. I guess that's. It's something similar, Mike. By the way, I'm catching Blade Runner on the big screen next week. Pretty excited about that. Ron said, "Yams always looks like a badass in every picture." Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet, Ron. We got more. We got more coming. Yeah, Yams, you should show off some of your stuff too that you got at Japan Book Hunter.
Well, hopefully some people took pictures of me, because I didn't get many pictures of myself, and I always like, oh yeah, I was there. I know I was there because I took all the pictures.
Cool.
I got this from Japan Book Hunter.
Yeah, I love that. I got that one. I've had that one for. Wow, it's a really cool photo book. So yeah, idol culture is really super big in Japan. So you have books with just photos that you don't see anywhere else. Dedicated to their favorite stars.
Yeah, great shots of Bruce and great shots of Jackie, ones that I've never seen before. I got 3 Akira shirts at Japan Book Hunter that I'm super stoked on, because they were rare, and I have many family members who love Akira. So
yeah. So what Japan Book Hunter did was he went to there was an Akira Cell exhibition last year, and when there's always going to be exclusive merch at these pop-ups, and he picks up some extra ones, and they were available. I don't know if you can see on the video, the pilot hatch just opened.
Oh yeah,
there's a little pilot inside. Marcus Wayatz, are they American sized? Yeah, they are becoming American sized. And the funny thing is, at the airport, there's a mall, selling a lot of the stuff that we love. Like, so there's, like the T-shirts. They're selling Godzilla T-shirts. They had them like double XL and triple XL. Clearly for the, for the Westerners that are shopping. But they have those giant. Which, by the way, those, you couldn't get those giant sizes before, but now it's a thing. Now they're really available.
Anytime Nick Dragata or Jeffrey Allen Love suggest a book, you got to grab it.
Yeah, British. I can't remember the artist. British strip though.
Peter O'Donnell and Jim Haldaway.
I think yeah, he's the writer. Cool. Samurai manga.
Yep. And Lambert just showed me with Google Translate, you can hold your phone over it and you can actually read what you've got. So
yeah,
you don't need to
little time consuming. It can be done. It can be done.
Right.
Yeah.
And this guy just does some crazy design work.
Cool. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, many artists worked on Modesty Place. I got, they brought that over to America, and I got a couple of volumes of it. But I don't remember the artist. All right, I think that's going to be it for the Gundam video, pretty much. Mike says she has any visits to Studio Ghibli. Funny you should ask, Mike. Is hang tight. Our show will continue.
The Gundam did have a exclusive store with all sorts of merch, and once you walked off the premises, there was no turning back. So,
yeah, you could take like half a foot past the line, leaving the park. You can't. They won't let you back in. So we realized after they stepped out, there was an exclusive something or other, and it's, oh yeah, I'd like to get that. Nope, can't do it. Very strict over there. Very they very by the numbers. All right. Do you sleep on futons with tatami mat floors or beds? No, it's strictly beds. Yo, we are Americans. All right, here we go. This is the Fist of the North Star 40th anniversary exhibit at the Mori Art Center in Roppongi. This is the next day. This is the first thing we did. You have to buy tickets, and the tickets are for a certain window. That's how they regulate the traffic. We got tickets for 10 a.m. Not the full group there. Some of them may have stayed up late the night before, but still a good-sized group. And the ones who didn't make it, I think they regretted it because everyone who went was just blown away. Again, this is kind of like Gundam. Like how could it? I'm tired, right? Like how good could it be? And I get it because I had no idea this show was as crazy as it was. This is near the entrance, and there's a you can't tell in the background. There is a life-size Kenshiro statue. Pretty cool. Next slide.
Love that shirt I'm wearing.
Yeah, sure. Good. Okay, these are a little out of order. Sorry, but there's 400 originals, and from the beginning all the way to the end, they picked 400 representative examples. It's just insane. This is pretty early on. This is a DPS. Basically, the inspiration for Fist of the North Star was Bruce Lee crossed with Mad Max, and you can see this is definitely the Mad Max influence coming through. That's sort of the entire conceit of the book. Is we're going to put Bruce Lee, like a really jacked up Bruce Lee, in a Mad Max setting. Next one, and yeah, here we go. It's just and these are color too. Keep going. Next one, Jason. Yeah, this was actually the beginning. This is like the very first page, how it opens up. The world's been decimated by nuclear war. How large is the art? Mike says that it varies, but they're mostly like 11 by 17 or close. A manga art can vary in size. These were close to American, standard American comic art size. Next slide. Yeah, this was the beginning. So we went backwards a little bit. This was you walk in, you had no idea how many rooms this exhibit was going to take up. You just had no idea, but it just kept going and going and going. This is the first image that greets you. You can sort of see the Bruce here. Yeah, those colors are holding up really well. Okay, so this is an early page. Our first look at Kenshiro, our hero. Still a little more like Bruce, like still like a bigger Bruce, but he absolutely gets roided out later. He just becomes a monster, and that's and it fits with the times. As we get into the 80s, you got Schwarzenegger and Stallone. That's sort of the action hero aesthetic, and it's absolutely reflected, in this comic. Next slide. There's a lot of them, so we're gonna go fast. You guys can watch this video later, and just pause on the images you want to see. Oh boy, we are totally out of order. So this is at the end of the exhibit. There's this 3D relief. You can't, that's not 2D, that's 3D. It's this sculpture. It's like a Mount Rushmore of Fist of North Star characters, and it's a photo op. You get your picture taken next to it. So this is at the very end of the exhibit, before you walk into the gift shop. This is just a bullet train. Sorry, guys, we are completely out of order here. Okay, now back to the art. This is this is just 2 pages, and you can see, you have Bruce as Mad Max with Lord Humongous looking character, and of course the double barrel shotgun, full on Mad Max influence. Here we go. There's going to be some violence happening. Next slide. You can see this guy gets punched in the face and his whole head explodes. Next slide. So they had at least like 50 covers there. Here's one of them. It was done in color. Color still extremely violent. Looks like a lot of airbrush. I'm certain that this is not displayed at the time. Mostly kept out of the light. Next one. This was kind of cool. This was just a chart showing all the various relationships of the characters to each other. Next slide. I thought this was a cool image. Obvious bad guy, but just cool airbrush effect on this. Next slide. And there you have like just a pretty iconic hero pose. I can't remember if this was an interior cover. I think this might actually be like an interior splash. But and this was just a really crazy double page spread. Now, this art is unfortunately out of order, but as you walk through the show, this guy, Tetsuhara, the artist, he was like 21, 22 when he started. And the art was pretty typically manga of that time. Started being his own style, everything started becoming more exaggerated, but also incredibly more detailed. Like you look at the horse, look at the buildings in the background, put way more detail in these things than he really needed to. And these things are getting pumped out. This was a weekly comic. Yeah, just insane. You hear about how these manga artists just get 2 hours of sleep a night and just have these just crazy work schedules. And you believe it, when you see like what they're turning out on a regular basis. I don't know if he had any assistants or a studio. I don't think so. I think the guy was a one-man band. Next page. Okay, so this was a cool piece. You might have close up on. This is a brand new piece. It's the most recent piece he's done, and it is the art of the exhibit. It's the art that you see on all the promotional material. And hang on a second. It's also they produce this really cool flyer for it, which will be given away. Double-sided flyer. This is very typical for Japanese shows, even like movies. There'll be a cool little free souvenir like this. And yep, got a couple extras. We'll be giving that away later. All right, next slide. Here's another cover. I mean, there were just a gazillion covers. They weren't all color, but these were. Little garish, but it fits. It works.
I'm sure you could see the nod to Bruce Lee there in that pose.
Yeah. So, so again, we're out of order here. But after the show, we had lunch in the building, and the show took place on the 52nd floor of the Mori Center. And that 52nd floor is just almost entirely a museum, with the Fist of North Star exhibit taking part of it. And this was and there was a cafeteria and then kind of a nicer lunch area. We just happened to come in here, and we were able to get all these seats like right up next to the window. You can't really appreciate unless you're there, but 52 stories high. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, that was. The food was food was okay, but the experience was worth it.
Yeah, the view was, you could see the whole city. Incredible.
Um, Nick Patera says he was doing 20 pages a week at age 21. The artist eventually started losing his sight in one of his eyes over time. That's Yeah, that's not surprising. Mike Stitch says, how old is this art? It's about 40 years old, Mike. Um, okay. A little bit out of order again. Sorry, guys. This was what I told you we were going to go. We wanted to go see the Godzilla movie, and we decided to go see it at the IMAX in Tokyo, which is not a true IMAX, but it's as good as you're going to get. Um, it's in Shinjuku. The cinema owned by Toho Studios, which is the studio that produces the Godzilla movies, and you can see that's our buddy John Butler. There's a giant Godzilla uh, peeking out over the top of the building, which is pretty cool. Next, okay, this was on our way to Ghibli Park, so we actually did go to a Ghibli attraction, and this is bus number 4, which is only for getting off. Um, I have to say, bus 4 was a bit of a letdown, but in any case, the sign was great. They had to take a picture of it. Okay, so I guess we're in Ghibli Park. So, guys, we're going to get back to the art. I know there are more pictures of the art, but this was in Ghibli Park. So there is a big Ghibli attraction right on the edge of Tokyo, an area called Mitaka. That's called the Ghibli Museum, and it's where we went last time in 2015. These places are notoriously difficult to get into. You have to get the tickets months in advance. They require your passport. There's all these hoops you have to jump through. But got tickets for everyone to go to Ghibli Museum last time in Tokyo. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I think everyone loved the museum. This time, the museum happened to be closed during our visit. It's not open every day of the year. It's closed periodically for maintenance, and it can be kind of random. They'll be closed for like 2 weeks at a time. And it just so happens that one of these times is during our trip. So we did not have an opportunity to go to the Ghibli Museum. But as it happens, they opened up something that's supposed to be bigger and grander than Ghibli Museum called Ghibli Park in Nagoya. And this is, I don't know, several hundred acres uh, plot of land that they're going to be building this park. The first part is called the Ghibli Grand Warehouse. And it's kind of like the museum. There's a movie theater in there showing exclusive anime that you can only watch on Ghibli property. And there's a life size cat bus and things like that, but not quite as extensive. I didn't think quite as cool as the museum. But there was the actual literal warehouse part that was really cool, and you can see these various models and things that they have in storage. Next slide. I mean, this was really cool to see. Next slide. Yeah, that's all made out of wood, and it's huge. I wish could have put something next to it for scale, but anyway, it gives you an idea. Next slide. Okay, so this is on the outer edge of the property. The idea is they have certain areas that they want you to be immersed in, so like you feel like you're in a Ghibli movie. And this is the area that had the Totoro house completely recreated, like even down to the kitchen, the bedrooms. They'll let you have to take off your shoes. You can walk through there. You can open up the drawers. You can open up the closets. It looks like people are living there. There's the dad's office. That's just a total replica. The books, the typewriter, everything just set up like it was the cartoon come to life. However, this was a giant trek to get to this place, and not all our guys made it. I mean, it was just, and I have to say that I think they limited the signs on purpose to kind of preserve the magic, to make you feel like you weren't at a theme attraction, but that you were actually in this world. But it made it actually very difficult to find, and it's actually kind of a little frustrating. Let's see what did. What do you guys write? Nick says, Darrow sent me a great documentary on the artist, writer, and editor Fist of North Star, all in English on YouTube. Great insight to the series. Nick, I know that video. It's dubbed in English. I'll probably shoot. I should shoot a link out to it. Very cool. Nick says, at the museum last time they had Miyazaki's drawing table replica. I assume next to it was an ashtray. Next to it, there's so many cigarette butts in it that it looked like a blooming onion. Yeah, yep. So this doesn't have this. The Ghibli Park doesn't have that. So if you can go to both, go to both. But if you can only go to one, I would say just the museum's good enough. It's 2.5 hours each way to go to Nagoya, and it's just a major commitment. And plus, I actually enjoyed the museum more, although this was impressive. And they're still in the process of building out. I mean, like I said, they have hundreds of acres, and they still have more things planned. But for what they have now, just stick to the museum.
Right.
Okay, next slide.
It'll be nice to see when it's finished.
Yeah. Here's the dad's office in the Totoro house. Pretty cool. We didn't get any close-ups of it though. And here are Yams and John next to a giant Totoro. This was a picture just because these gachapon machines are basically fancy gumball machines. You get like cool toys out of it. We there's always something we're gonna like and we're gonna buy. For example, there was a Rocketeer. There's a Rocketeer gachapon, which is what they call the toys. And of course, I had to buy a bunch of those. I was just amused that there are gachapon of faucets. Like there's a gachapon for just about anything. But here you go, faucets. This was a vintage manga bookstore. Now manga are being produced every day. There's new manga. There's no way you can have a bookstore that could carry all of it. So there's certain stores that specialize in eras. And this is like this store goes up to maybe the 80s. But very cool. I actually got some. I'll show you what I got from there. I did not get this at this particular shop. I did get one at another vintage shop, which was really cool. It's a original Go-Go 13 manga from this is probably early 70s. You can see. And pretty cheap. I think it was like $10. Then I was super happy to find these Gatchaman manga. These are kind of like they were for kids, but they're fun. If you're a Gatchaman, Battle of the Planets fan, these are cool. Got it at that shop. Let's see, what else did I get? Oh, this was super happy about these. Original Lone Wolf and Cub digests. These are the volumes that first collected the series. These are all first editions. And this is Frank Miller was incredibly influenced by Lone Wolf and Cub, the comic, and also I think he discovered the movies through Shogun Assassin. And I'm pretty sure I've kind of tried to piece together the chronology. It was Larry Hama who was the guy who was buying these books out of a Japanese bookstore, either Kinokuniya or whatever was before Kinokuniya, was buying these volumes and then sharing them with fellow pros. And they were devouring these. And I think Jeff Darrow told me too, like he was getting these himself as well. But here you go. Not easy to find. Not easy to find. So pretty. I've been to Japan a bunch of times. I don't think I've seen these very often. I've obviously haven't looked for these specifically, but yeah, not easy to find. Yep. Okay. Next pick. Yeah, that's what they look like at the spine. Samuel Rojas says Book Off in New York has a gashapon corner. Book Off is a chain out of Japan. Definitely worth checking out. So like I said, most vintage manga shops will go up to 80s at the latest. But if you go to places like Book Off, they'll have more recent manga, say of the last 10 years. So they're also worth checking out. Like someone was a Victor who says, need to make a trip one day to Japan to get some original Berserk manga. Yeah, so you'd find Berserk in a place like Book Off, Victor. All right. Next Oh, Samuel Rose says there's a really cool Miyazaki Mobius book that JP Book Hunter probably has. You know, the Miyazaki Mobius book I think is actually French. It was a co-exhibit, I think, in France. So I'm not sure that Japan Book Hunter has that one. You know, maybe there's a Japanese version too. I don't recall seeing one in a Japanese one. Okay, next slide. Jason, whenever you're ready. Samuel Rose says Lone Wolf and Cub is simply incredible. It is by far my favorite manga series. It's I think it was one of the best comic sagas ever. And you know, you have to read it from beginning to end. Definitely more art picks, Jason. You guys have anything else you wanted to add? Okay, I'll show you some of these other books I got at various places. These I've had before. They're art books for the Gotchaman show. Pretty cool. And of course, since I am a Gotchaman fan, had to get a set of these postcards. A lot of these. I mean, I just grabbed one of every one. There's a ton of them. Yeah. Oh yeah, it wasn't just old toys. I also got. You might as well cut over to me, Jason, if you can. But yeah, just go back to the Fifths of the North Star pics that I sent you. I'm sure there are more pics that I sent you. Maybe you didn't upload them. Definitely a lot more. Okay. Victor asks, favorite food y'all had? What was your favorite, Yams?
That's a tough one. There were so many good places. We had amazing ramen, so many good places. You know, the one dish that really jumps out is we went to it was a Wagyu all beef, and so everyone was worried there was going to be nothing for me to eat, and the garlic rice was just amazing.
Something as simple as garlic rice.
It was a bowl of rice with garlic, and it was so good.
Okay, guys. Yams, you narrate a little bit. I'm gonna have to resend Jason these pics.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Jason, check your email. If the emails came through, there definitely should be more than 16 pics, including the pics I sent last time too. Yeah, check out our pics too, Jason.
I would suggest to anyone who is planning on making a trip that you do a little bit of walking the week or two beforehand, just so that you prepare, because you wind up doing 20,000 steps a day easy, and you know, some people may be able to handle it. I was a little sore, and I'm happy to admit I took a couple baths at the end of the night just to relax and loosen up my bones and soften up the muscles, because you know, you definitely make the rounds.
Yeah, if you've ever been to Disneyland, it's like doing Disneyland like 6 days in a row. Because right. you are walking, you're hitting it hard. You know, from beginning of the day all the way to the end. So it's about 20 something thousand steps a day.
And you're having so much fun, you don't really you don't realize it until you finally decide, all right, I'm done shopping, and you get to the hotel and you're ready to crash, and then you realize, oh, I am really wiped.
Yeah, I've done it a bunch, so I don't know. I guess kind of mentally prepared, so
Right.
I don't feel it as much. Although I'm sure I am just as physically tired. I think for the people who go in the first time, it's a little bit of a shock to the system. But
Yeah.
you don't have to do it quite that hard. Like I went with my kid, and
True, true.
she was not at all, ready to do that because we went in like the heat of summer too, and she was just she was about taking it easy.
Which is
Okay.
also still doable. I mean, the subway is great. So I'll go ahead, Felix.
Oh no, go. You keep going. You keep going.
Well, I mean, the subway is so easy to use that if you can't understand anything a lick of Japanese, you'll still be able to get by if you can just manage reading a map. And the nice thing is all the LED screens, they switch from Japanese to English, and you can read where you're going, and all of the stops are very clearly diagrammed in front of you, so it's tough to miss your stop unless you aren't paying attention.
Okay, Jason, I just sent you two more emails. I forwarded you a previous one too. Let me know if you get it. RPix 7, RPix 2. I'm not going to go crazy and show you guys, too much more, but we'll have a few more to show you just because I think it's worth checking out. While Jason's getting it ready, I'll show you something cool. Hang on a second.
And Ron just had a great tip about renting a Wi-Fi puck for $40 for 5 days. I told my phone company to just turn it on.
There is something cool at any of these shows. They know what fans want. It was, if you're a Fist of the North Star fan, it was crazy. I mean, I just got a few things. Can you cut to me, Jason? So of course I had to get the original Comic Digest, a reprint, but it was worth getting. The original manga. Got a shirt. It says "You're Already Dead," which is the famous Kenshiro line, and there's also art on the back, which you can't see. And then someone asked me, "Is that art for sale?" I mean, when I posted it on social media, I got asked that a lot, and so I guess I'm proud to show you guys debut here. Fist of the North Star reproduction. It's a copy. I was not lucky enough to get an original, but what the hell? I'm not a copy guy, but you're not going to get anything original. This is kind of fun. I just thought it was cool that they had these, artist edition prints available. And the funny thing is, I read Fist of the North Star when it was coming out. I saw the movie in the theater at the New Beverly in LA. I can't say I was a humongous fan. I mean, I'm a Bruce Lee guy. I love Road Warrior. So just on that alone, I had to check it out. So not a huge fan, but walking through that exhibition, like it didn't take long for me to say, like, man, I wish I could own a piece of that art. And I think that's what being in that setting and that environment does to you, which is, again, why I really believe if Lucas Museum Narrative Art showcases comic art like that, it's going to be a game changer. I think it's going to really inspire a lot of people. But this was the prize of this might be the prize of the trip. Like I got a lot of cool stuff. You saw that cool manga, and okay, that Young magazine was the big score. But pound for pound, dollar for dollar, it's this Fist of the North Star 40th anniversary exhibition catalog, hardcover. Look at this beautiful package. It's just beautiful production, and it's got all the art reproduced in here. 400 pieces. so you can really take your time to study it. It's just amazing. They if say they limit it to 5 copies per person. I got 3 of them, and they're already spoken for. But if there was, the problem is these things are heavy, and just walking around with them is kind of a pain. But then having to mule them back is even bigger logistical nightmare. And 3 was about all I could get. I think everyone got 1 for themselves and maybe 1 more for a friend. But if you've been paying attention, you've been watching along, this is where it helps, because Japan Book Hunter has copies. So if you guys want this is your reward for sticking with us. Because if you wanted a copy of this, go to Japan Book Hunter. He told me he has 9 copies. Jeff Darrow just got 1 of them, and so that means he has at most 8 copies left. If you want one of these, write Japan Book Hunter. I don't think it'll last very long.
They'll be gone tomorrow.
Okay, some more art. This is a super early Kenshiro page, like right at the beginning, where you're being introduced to him. Next, Jason. You like this? Again, this is, you see the gang on the motorcycle. So someone said, "Wow, I can't believe that art's 40 years old." When you look at that, that looks like 40-year-old art. I think this is the first time we see Kenshiro in the Mad Max getup, and you can see he's definitely built, but not completely roided out like he would become. But again, I think he's following the action hero model of the day. Oh yeah, that's they're showing off my page. See, I own that. I own a copy of it. Marcus Waste, so you can go back and buy 5 at a time. He could, except the exhibit I think closes. It closes Sunday. Sunday's the last day, and then that's it. This exhibit was only up for 6 weeks. Crazy that they put this much money into exhibit that only lasts 6 weeks, but that's kind of typical. So we just got lucky with our timing. Next slide. Yeah, here you can see he's doing the Bruce Lee bit. Next slide. Yeah, I just like these DPSs. Next slide. Another just crazy good DPS. You can zoom in on that one. This guy was just knocking these out. I mean, how long would it take an artist typically to produce a page like that? And this guy probably took, he did a couple of these a day. Next slide. I think I showed this one already, but that's cool. I always like the double-barreled sawed-off shotgun. Next slide. Okay, I think we saw this one. That's cool. Next slide. Yeah, getting his head punched off. Keep going. Okay, this is a cool one. This I call the Tradmore page, because if you look at that pyramid structure, this dude's walking up with the top. Behind him are a whole row of slaves, presumably carrying up bricks to build this pyramid. And each guy is, if you look closely, is kind of rendered in a very Tradmore way, circa Legacy of Luther Strode. Next slide. Okay, maybe that's it, but keep going. I mean, you can't see these enough. Love that one. Okay, Jason, thank you. I think we're good. Yeah, so those of you who are going to get the book, you're going to be able to see the rest of them. I think we show like 30 out of 400, so lots more to see. I got some. Did you get anything at Ghibli, Hams?
I got 2 storyboard books.
Okay.
One was My Neighbor Totoro, and the other was I think Princess Mononoke.
I got this a die-cast ship from Laputa. Pretty happy.
Hmm.
Made by Takara, so nice. Got a nice weight to it.
Nice.
This is an exclusive to the shop. I saw this in other places, and I think this is a new line that they're making. So I'll want to get I want to get some of the other vehicles. This was a Ghibli thing. These are like little plastic figurines, but they're cheap. It was 500 yen, which was like less than $4. Got Totoro, got the cat bus. You got Kiki's delivery service, and of course, Sir Cat Gigi. Gosh, I think that's. Oh, I got some cool Otoma books. I'll show you. Oh, actually, let me show you these. You guys saw this in the group pic, but I was really happy to find these. Again, just wandering around Koenji, came across a shop that specialized in nothing but Star Wars, mostly American Star Wars toys, but they had a couple of these old vintage Japanese Takara toys. Here's the X-wing. See what it looks like on the back. Takara got a limited license in the 70s to produce some toys, and they did this cool die-cast Darth Vader. See what it looks like on the back. It comes with a crossbow. Why? Who knows? But it looks like a Japanese robot of that period. From, like I said, all these places, any special event, they'll have souvenirs. And this is at the Toho Cinema. All movies, doesn't matter how wide a release, will get a movie program. And this Godzilla one's really nice. And in this case, they had these are gifts for friends. They had theater exclusive Godzilla toys, Godzilla vinyls, fire version. Yo Curry says, did you like Tokyo or Kyoto better? We were just in Tokyo, yo. Yeah, we do all the dumb nerd stuff. If you want like real culture, you go to Kyoto, which is the old capital. Tokyo is just for the nerdy stuff. Yep, someday we will make it to Kyoto. Next time. Some more books. A book all about James Cameron in Japanese with lots of cool photos that you can't see anywhere else. Akira Club, big Akira volume. I think this is pretty recognizable. A lot of people know about this one. This just came out, but I got it pretty cheap. This was volumes of the cells, and then that art book, Real Tome art book. How about wrestling stuff for DWJ? Marcus, I actually had some pictures of the wrestling shops. Didn't send them to Jason. Didn't think anyone would be interested. But yeah, there are shops devoted to Japanese wrestling, which was pretty cool. One not too far from our hotel that was walking distance. There you go. Dan did go see a match. I think it was on one of the days we went to some of the more basic things, which he'd done before. So, yeah, he made his own plans. Kept himself very very busy. I think he might have done more walking than us.
Yeah. He showed me one shot from the wrestling match too. A guy doing a backflip, landing on someone.
Yeah. that moon flip. Yeah, crazy. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's everything. A lot of fun. Want to go back again already. I don't know when that'll happen.
Yep.
I think it's probably going to be a slightly different configuration. There are guys who really wanted to go this time who couldn't make it, but are now, as is always the case, they see what's going on, they regret it, and now they really want to go. And I've been hearing from them, and so probably happen again. Don't know what. Again, like what we do will obviously depend on who goes. Like if it's just first timers, we're going to do a lot of the basic stuff. But if it's more advanced veteran travelers, then we'll take side trips to Kyoto and Osaka and wherever else people want to go.
Can't wait.
Yep. All right, guys. That's it. Any last second questions? Feel free to ask. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. And we'll be back. I have an unboxing planned. Probably another podcast with an artist. And then I know I keep saying this, but a regular podcast will be coming back. It's just time. Time to get it done. Yep. Okay. Anything else, Yams?
Well, thanks everyone for coming and checking it out. We had an amazing trip, and thanks, Felix. It was so much fun.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks, guys.